There we go. How's that? Can you hear me now? Is that better? That better? Okay. I was muted. Super. Okay, we're good now. Glad we figured this out before. My Instagrammers, you guys could hear me, I bet, because you're just straight on Insta. You're not, I don't have my mic plugged in, but apparently my mic on my laptop was not plugged in properly. All right, now we're good. Cool. Well, yeah, any questions that have come through? Let me just check my chat pad on Facebook and see if there are anything that's come through. Yeah, feel free to put stuff. Oh, hello, Gary. Thanks for that. I'm glad you can hear me now. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, I think, to see what Joe has to say, considering he's a dad and he's been in the program for a while. I think a lot of times this sort of stuff, there's often the moms who will talk about it and moms who will be interested in parenting stuff. And the dads don't often get much of a look in. And I love it when there's dads who are part of it. And I think dads are so key, obviously, so key to this stuff. We did a dad's group last week, which was actually really amazing. I was amazed actually at how many people came. We had probably, I don't know, 50, what would you say, Gary? 50, 60 people there, maybe. It was really engaging and like everyone was really into it and chiming in, and there was really great conversation, and it was, yeah, really neat. But obviously those of you who aren't in Melbourne, sorry, you can't go to those. But we're going to be doing another one, which is cool. Yeah. So I'll just recap quickly too while we are waiting for Joe to get here in a couple minutes. Yeah, Gary said there was about 50. I agree. So the program closes, or the doors are open now until Thursday, and the doors will close Thursday, and then the first sort of call and stuff where we will start is next Monday, is when it will kick off, and then go for the next 10 weeks. So, yeah, I think the other things that people have been asking me about is if they think it's applicable to them, or like my kid has a certain situation, a certain diagnosis, or a certain problem or whatever. Do you think it's relevant? And I always say, yes, it doesn't matter what kind of diagnosis or whatever you're dealing with, because the support that you will get in the group and the support that you will get from me and the other parents is foundational and is what will help you navigate whatever is coming. It's sort of like a lot of people have said, it's the foundational level of making everything make sense, you know? Yeah. The code or link. So, yeah. So, oh yeah, we should live stream. That's a really good idea that we should do for the next dad's group. That's a really good idea. The other thing that I was going to mention is if you're not sure, just message me. You know, if you're not sure about if the program is right for you, just DM me and we can talk about it and we can see if it's right for you. You know, it doesn't necessarily need to be that you need to find all the answers on the website and the page. You can just message me and I can get back to you if you want to ask me what your specific situation is and if it's right for you. That's totally fine. Oh, there's Joe. All right. Let me bring you into, I don't think so, unless you feel, I might go that way. Hi.
How are you?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, good. Thanks for being here. I might just move my Instagram over so that this audio is picked up better. Yeah, dude. Well, thank you for being here. So this is Joe. Hi, Joe. And Joe is a dad in the parenting program and super involved in all of our chats. I feel like you are on almost all the Q&A calls that we have every week.
And switch up on Mondays. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool to have you be a part of it, because I think there are definitely dads that I know are listening and are doing it, but are not always on the calls. So I think it's neat. Do you find that in your experience as a dad that it's not necessarily something that's talked about a lot, like parenting and stuff like that?
I don't know. I talk about it a lot because it's so hard. So I don't know. But I definitely bring it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, okay, so I will just go through a couple of questions, I guess, that might help other people get a better idea about what the experience was like. So maybe do you want to start with before you joined, like what was happening for you guys and what made you want to join? What was the sort of catalyst or whatever that got you to that point?
There's probably a lot of stress and challenges of who was doing what with the kids. I think my wife was doing a lot of stuff with the kids, and I was trying to get involved. And there just wasn't a balance, and there was really bad communication between the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it just was really stressful, and things would escalate with our kids, and we were always trying to figure out what can we do to make things a bit better and try and change stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I know my wife had a session with you to talk about our oldest daughter, because we've gone through a number of people, and you suggested that we try out the course.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always like, there has to be a better way of doing this, because I just don't feel like I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. And so it was a great way just to start, and we started doing the videos, and just really started being really prescriptive on working our way through the modules each week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so did you think before, like, because some parents will tell me, I'm not a course person, or I don't do group calls. Like, were there any of those sort of hesitations that you had before?
Yeah, definitely. When we saw the course, I got a little overwhelmed, right? And,
Yeah.
I think for me, it's big to make sure I'm committing to it. Like, I'm not going to just leave it for her to do.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of discussions around how much she's carrying.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, okay, I just have to commit and sit down and, figure out my own way of taking notes and trying to take it on board.
Mm-hmm.
But once we got through it, there's definitely stuff to learn. I think the challenge, I'm always scared that anytime I do any course, whether it's like a sales course at work, it's like I'm going to implement it for a week, and then you go back to what you used to be doing. So it helped that because there's always a course and we did the calls, it kind of reinforced it.
Yeah.
So I was always sort of thinking about it, and then I can definitely absolutely see a change.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you feel like in the past you've tried, like, because that is the piece, and I spoke a little bit about this yesterday, the piece that's always missing, what all parents tell me, is the execution.
Mm-hmm.
I learn all the things, I read the books, and then when it actually comes to doing it, I can't. And the piece that I feel like is different of why this works is because you have me on the calls twice a week. And you have the modules, like, to always just be listening to, and to just kind of, it's like immersive. Like the only analogy that I can keep thinking of is like learning French. If you took one lesson a week, it's way harder to learn French. But if you move to France for 6 months, it's like you'll be fluent by the end of it. You know what I mean? Is that what you would say too for you, of why, like, it's that being able to kind of connect with me a lot and listen to the stuff that makes you actually able to execute?
Well, I think definitely, because like you think about it and you try it, and if this isn't working, my kid is escalating, everyone's angry. Then I can ask about it, and like, this is what's happening. I think that's probably the first time I asked a question to you.
Mm-hmm.
The questions are like, this is what's happening. This is what I'm feeling, and it gave me something to like say. Well, look, you're a good parent having a hard time, right? And you're just trying to change it up, and that can sort of go back to my notes, and so it just helped reinforce. Like, I tried this worked. Okay, great. Add that to my tool belt. This didn't work. Come back and
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's like troubleshooting in real time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then what do you think were some of the roadblocks that you guys were considering, like, when you were thinking about whether or not you would join? Was there stuff that you were thinking about that was sort of holding you back? Was it just I'm not a group person, I don't, like, what were some of the things that you were holding back?
To be honest, at this point, we're just going to try anything.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm trying to be like, I'm in. This isn't on you, wife, right, Mel? I'm like, we just need to do this. And she's like, this is course. I'm like, great. Yeah. Let's just try it.
Let's just try it.
I was desperate to try as well. Like, there has to be a different way of doing it, because I'm getting feedback from my wife, but I'm like, it doesn't always work. I feel like I was just sort of being like, this is the way to do things, but we're always trying to fix stuff. So to have a neutral play. So it's not someone else disseminating a book or a video to the other person. We can sort of do it together,
Mhm.
side by side. I think that's been really helpful.
Yeah. A lot of parents have told me too that they get me then in as sort of the middleman, that it's sort of like, what would Heidi say? Rather than this is my way or your way, or we're arguing about who's right. It's like, well, we're going with what Heidi says, and that's sort of the neutral thing, that's what we're going to follow. Is that kind of what you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, it helps. Then we can talk about, like, I like this, or this doesn't work for us, but we can tweak it. But then it's not coming from like, I'm wrong if it's my idea, or she's wrong if it's her idea. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So what do you think has changed since you've joined? What's been the differences?
It's a lot calmer in our house more often. Yet we still have those spikes of things, of like things going, off the wall a little bit. But
Mhm.
it's like I have sort of the language in my head, what I'm thinking about, and then so when I approach a situation, I'm trying to approach it a bit differently. So the way I approach it, even if I'm feeling myself amplified, right? I can sort of think about, okay, well, how do I change the way I approach it? Or even if it goes wrong, we have a way to go back and sort of talk about it and say, oh, this really didn't go that well. Oh, well,
Mhm.
I should have tried to connect with my kid or give it
Mhm.
some choice. So you really weren't giving choice there. You were just doing stuff. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think this means for your family? Like what's the implication, the impact, the bigger picture, long term? I don't know. What does this mean for you?
I think it sort of reinforces some of our ideas, right, of how we're working as parents, because it's sort of what we wanted to do as parents. And so allows us to see some of the things we wanted to change.
Mhm.
It just probably just means more connection with our kids. Um, and if and just sort of just calmer house, right? So if things are going off, we know what we want to try and get back to. We've sort of built this
Mhm.
framework, and so it's like just sort of giving us a path to try and work forward with a common
Mhm.
language.
Mhm.
And we talked to our kids about it. I was like, "Yep, hey, I'm doing this thing today." The woman I talked to about parenting, she's like, "Oh yeah, yeah." I'm like, I'm going to do this Instagram thing. She's like, "My kids are like, okay," and so it helps.
The parent school. Yeah, a lot of the parents in the program have told me that they've had that conversation with their kids saying, um, I'm going to parent school and Heidi is my teacher in parent school. And it cracks me up. Yeah, my kids will often say, if I've overheard them say to someone, if they say, what does your mom do? They'll say, she's a parent teacher. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. But
Yeah.
anyway. Okay, so it's changed things, it's improved things. What do you think would have happened if you didn't do it? What do you like? It would just suck? Like what do you think it would have been like if you hadn't done it?
I mean, we keep be grasping at stuff. We'd be trying something or like reading a book, and same
Yeah.
thing. Like my challenge, like I'll read a book, and then how do I put it into practice?
Yeah.
Um, and even like say, I work in like you know sales and stuff like that. It's like, so we do sales training, or I have my team do sales training. It's like, well, how do you put it into practice? And you try to reinforce it. And usually I just put stuff in a drawer afterwards. Right. So it's like, we'd find something eventually, but I think this has really helped us to find sort of an equilibrium or something to come back to.
Mhm.
And so now we're just like, yep, we'll just keep doing it. And so it's really,
Yeah.
even like I was coaching my daughter's soccer team last night, and I was really cranky beforehand. So cranky. I'm like, how am I going to do this? And it's just like, okay, how am I going to approach it using some of these tools, and like sit everyone down and connect with them and talk to them about their favorite dessert or whatever. And that changed everyone's mood, including myself. And then, I had to yell a lot of the kids because you're a coach. It wasn't from a typical yelling coach kind of way. It was from everyone had fun at the end. And so I'm trying to bring it into
Mhm.
all aspects.
Yeah. Is that something that has surprised you? Like, because a lot of parents will say that one of the things that surprised them in the program is the shifts that it's had within them, or that they've learned stuff around managing their own anxiety or managing their own anger. Like, yeah, it's a program to help us with our kids,
Mhm.
but a lot of parents say they were surprised at like the internal work that it sort of had them question or look at, or kind of makes them understand stuff from their own childhood, or their relationship with their parents. Is there anything that you go, wow, this really surprised me, or did you experience that, of like you thinking about your own stuff?
I don't think it surprised me because I've spent a lot of time thinking about my own stuff.
Mhm.
But I guess it reinforced some things because like we're like, this is what we want to do, but we're not doing it. Like we're not operating in the manner that we want to. And then we're like, oh, and so it's like, okay, well, it's reinforcing what we want to do, and then putting a light on things like we weren't doing that well. And then how to be like, okay, instead of think, oh man, that was horrible, going back and apologizing to our kids, like, I was a bit rude today. That wasn't really nice, right? And just sort of changing the way we follow up on things as well. And so knowing you have a right to be wrong as a parent, but like giving us our permission to just be humans.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess
Permission to be human.
it probably has influenced other stuff, even at work and things as well. I just haven't really thought about it that much, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Some parents have told me that like the MOVES acronym, mirror, validate, empathize, that they have found themselves using that at work and with their teams and with their bosses and with like customers and stuff. And a lot of parents have said that there's things that they didn't realize. I think the most common one I would hear is that people tell me it's improved my relationship with my own parents because it's caused me to reflect on so much stuff from my own childhood and how I was parented, that it impacted me in that way. And I think it's just a different way. Is there anything that has surprised you? Is there anything that you kind of look at and go, that's surprising, or that was different? Or
well, I guess, and sometimes like I don't want to say it's easy, because it's not easy. Like I'm still, I think one of mine, like, probably like 4 or 5 months in, and I'm seeing it really come out more naturally, I think, which is good. But I was like, oh, this is so hard, and still really hard. And my wife's better at it than me, right? But I think what surprised me is like, okay, I'm always looking for the lowest common denominator, either because maybe because I'm lazy, I don't know. But it's like, what are the things I can remind myself, right? And so even if I try and boil it down to like the 3 things of like, okay, I'm like, how do literally when they come down the stairs in the morning, I'm lying in bed like, okay, here they come. Okay, connection with your kids, give them the choice, time, control. You can do this.
Yeah.
And then, check in. So even if I just try and boil it down to like the 3 words of what I'm trying to do, it just sort of helps. If I go back and try and think of all the things, I'm going to get lost.
Yeah. But it does make it easier, isn't it? Like it's weird how once you get really clear on what matters the most, okay, this is what I prioritize, this is what I focus on, this is what I do not focus on. It's so much easier. It is still hard, yes, but it's easier. It's less hard, Yeah.
It's even like things like, I was just me and the kids a couple weeks ago, and like they were really tired. They had swimming at school, exhausted, and I had soccer practice with my daughter, and she had to like brush her teeth, and she had to like do something else. She was like having a tantrum on the floor. And eventually I was like, normally they would have like, we had a huge thing about brushing your teeth. And I was like, you know what? You don't need to brush your teeth. She's like, what do you mean? Of course I have to brush my teeth. I'm like, nah. And I had to convince her that she didn't have to brush her teeth. Right. And so it's just the things of realizing I can let go of the things as a parent. Like if you say you have to do something, you have to follow through, and like, who cares if she doesn't brush her teeth? Like, you brush them in the morning, which of course I didn't make her do because that's a pain. Yeah. But it's fine. And so it's making me question what you think you're supposed to do, which actually makes my life easier.
Yeah. The stuff that we think we need to be really diligent on, we can let go, and we could be more flexible on. Totally agree. With having 2 kids, can you speak a little to the fact that the program helps you with kind of different ages and different kids? Because that was a question that someone asked me earlier today of like, is it only applicable to certain kids? And what I'm always trying to say is, no, it's broad. It's foundational, right? So these are really a lot of basic principles and basic foundational stuff that will help you regardless of what kind of kid you have. Because I know your 2 kids are different. Yeah. Obviously, all kids are different, but like their temperament's different, their personality styles are different. And can you just share a little bit about what that's been like, about how you can use stuff for both of the kids, even though they're different?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we sort of like tested out, like one kid moves works really well, which is one of the things, of course, and that's like that easy. The other kid works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. And so we just sort of try other things or try different sayings. And so you can sort of, as you go, you pick and choose like, well, what works from this toolbox? Oh, that definitely didn't work. Okay, well, let me try something else. Or I'll come back and ask a question like, this is not working.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works some days, sometimes it doesn't work. But it's just like, because you start building out like this, like, the toolbox or way of approaching things, I can understand much better how to approach my kids. Like this morning, I had to get one of my kids dressed, and it was just like, give her a choice, give her a choice, give her a choice, give her a choice, give her a choice. And then speed her along a little bit, but that just like got her out. Whereas the other kid, I'll just like get dressed.
Yeah.
It just happens, right? But then something else might come around. She won't know what to wear, and so we run the moves thing with her, and then just walk away. And so it's different approaches, but sort of coming from that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's that's a good way to put it, that it's just like tools. You just get so many different tools and strategies, and then you have that little pot to pick from.
Yeah.
And then okay, so I tried A, that didn't work, I'll try B. If B doesn't work, I'll try C. And that's the thing I think that we forget sometimes with parenting, that one tool does not work every day with every kid in every scenario, but having a whole alphabet of tools, that's all you need, because then you have options. Because I think what it feels like is I only have, two options. I ask you to do something, or I yell at you or force you or control you to do it, right? Yeah. And then it feels like those are the only two things. So if you don't do what I want you to do, then I'm going to yell, or I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose control. I'm going to threaten you, punish you, whatever, right? But then I think what the course has is sort of like A to Z of all these different things to try. And then I guess too, then what you're saying is like on the calls, if you still can't figure out what tool you want to use in that moment, you just jump on a call, and then the call helps you with the tools. Is that right? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even then, like anyone who's watching this, I'm not perfect. Like I'm still yelling at my kids.
Sure.
I'll ask them to do the same thing like 5 times. And it's like, that's really annoying. You're asking them a lot. But I still don't know how to get past that. If not doing it 3 times, like take your medicines. Like, I still don't know how to do it.
I think the thing with yelling is it's just, we do it less, like if we started the program yelling, say 10 times a day, then as time goes on, it goes down from 9, 8, 7, 6. Like I would imagine that you're yelling at them a lot less now than you would have a year ago, because
absolutely. And it just makes the house calmer. I can just feel it, which then makes the relationship with my partner a bit better. And so now the only thing we have to fight about are the challenges that I have with each other, as opposed to all the stuff with the kids, where it's less. And then you just try to get the equilibrium of things being chill.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I think that's a good way, I think, to manage the expectations of everyone too, is that it's like, we're not saying that this program is like the silver bullet and like all your problems go away and your kids become perfect angels. But what you do get is you yell a hell of a lot less. They listen a lot more. It's calmer, and it's a happier place to be than it was a year ago or, before you did it. So yeah.
Good.
Awesome. Well, thanks, dude.
No
Thanks
worries.
for taking the time to be here and to come on and share your experience. And I'll see you. What's today? I'll see you on the call tomorrow.
Cool. See you later.
All right, see you, Joe. Thanks. Well, that was fun. Let me just go look at these questions. Oh, sorry, Gary. I didn't see this until now. Can we hear on some of the challenges that Joe was having with his kids that led him to the program? I think he might have mentioned that, but I think their biggest issues were yelling, non-compliance, and what else would he have said? Yeah, probably yelling, non-compliance, and trying to deal with one of their kids who has a different personality. She's more introverted and a bit shyer, and trying to navigate that anxiety, I think, is what they would probably say. Yeah. And then what was the other question? Rhea says, we enjoyed the masterclass. Is there a lot more to learn from doing the TPT course? Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. If you did the masterclass, you did the tip of the iceberg. If you did the masterclass, that is, that would be 10% of what else there is to learn. So yeah, if you liked the masterclass, then you'd like TPT. The other thing with the program versus the masterclass is me live, like getting me in person, because with the Q&A calls, we chat Mondays and Wednesdays. And if you can make it live, great. If you can't, you can submit your question before, and then I ask it. I read your unique question if you're not there live, and then I answer it. So whereas the masterclass, it's more broad, right? And it's standard for everyone. Whereas with the Q&A calls, you get to talk to me. I can unmute you and we can talk back and forth. It's all cameras off. It's through Zoom, but it's cameras off. And so you can ask your questions, directly. We can dialogue back and forth, or you can just submit it and then I answer it. So that's obviously really different than the masterclass, because the masterclass is for kind of everyone, but then your unique questions, you can ask me twice a week, which is cool. And also, if you're really struggling, and you were trying to see a psych twice a week to help them support you with your child's behavior, good luck. Like, it's really hard to get in anywhere right now. And so the fact that you can talk to me twice a week is huge, to just have that real-time support. But also, what a lot of parents say is, even if they don't have a question, they still listen to the calls, because they always will get something out of the calls, regardless of what the kids are, or the ages of the kids, sorry. They will still get so much out of it, because so many of the issues we have are applicable across the lifespan. A 3-year-old and a 13-year-old, bizarrely, can have a lot of stuff in common. I want to do it myself. I'm an independent person. I want to make the plans and decisions for my life. There's a lot of stuff that you'll see is paralleled throughout different ages. And a lot of parents have said that one of the areas that they got the most learning was just listening to the Q&A calls, even if they didn't have their own question, because it's real life examples. It's getting out the door this morning, my daughter threw herself on the floor and wouldn't get in the car. What do we do? Or my teenager lied about where they were going last night, and I found out that they went to a party. What do we do? There's a whole variety of real life. And so the Q&A calls, I think, is what makes this so different, and not just a book or content that you're just consuming. It's the real life question and answer stuff that makes a big difference. And you have access to the Q&A call archive. So all of the Q&A calls that we've done in the past are there, and they're indexed by questions and stuff. So you can go and search through those, and whatever your specific issue is, and you can listen to them. Some parents have joined the program and have just gone through the old archives just to learn. And they haven't, done it sort of by topic. They've just listened to them, and that's helped them get their head around this stuff, because parenting is so complicated and it is so deep than just a 2-hour or 3-hour masterclass. Like, there's so much more content to this. The other thing that the parenting program has that the masterclass, so if you just did the spicy or you just did the anxiety masterclass, the program has sibling rivalry, how to navigate, punishments and consequences. It just has so much more stuff than just the just spicy. It's just so much more goes into it. It's sibling rivalry, chores, how to build connection, body safety and protective behavior. So how to keep your kids safe from abuse and bullying, and how to talk to them about private parts and things like that. That's a whole module in it as well. Managing anger, yours and theirs, anxiety, yours and theirs, emotional literacy, emotional regulation in general. It's so comprehensive. So yeah, the masterclass is like literally the tip of the iceberg. That's a great question. If you want, I will just pop this up in the stream. It is Total Parenting Transformation. So you can just go to HeidiLinks.com/TPT if you want to sign up. That is where you can get the link if you want to sign up. And it closes on Thursday. So we only keep it open for these next couple of days. And then the first call next Monday will be the real kind of kickoff. So I think that's it. I'll just look over. Oh, there's a question about MOVES. MOVES is an acronym that I just made up to help explain how you want to listen and how you want to communicate. And we go through it a lot in the program. We talk about MOVES all the time. And it basically is just mirror. So the letters are MOVES. Mirror. O is V for validate, E for empathize, S for stop. And MOVES is basically the way that when your child comes to you about something, that you respond that way. So what that would look like is, oh, I'm sad I didn't get invited to the party. Oh, you didn't get invited to the party. So mirroring back what they just said. You didn't get invited. And then O is just sort of nonverbal or maybe like minimal verbal, just showing I'm listening, just going, oh, like curious, not being a know-it-all, nodding your head, eye contact, just like giving them attention. So that's what the O is for, is oh. V is for validate. So I'm validating your experience as real for you. I may not agree with it. I may think that you not getting invited to that party is awesome because those people are stupid, but I don't tell you that. I just validate your experience. I validate your feelings. And so I would go, yeah, you're feeling sad about not being invited. That makes sense. Feeling left out. E is for empathize. So I can think about a time in my life where I was left out of something and that sucked. So I can kind of meet you there. And so my E would be, yeah, I remember that once when I got left out of something. It's really hard to be left out. And like, even if we don't really like those people, just being left out is what sucks, huh? Yeah, that makes sense. I remember feeling like that. And then S stands for stop, which is just shut up. Stop trying to fix it. That's what most of us do. Unfortunately, with our parenting, is we try, well, and with anyone when we're trying to listen to them, we don't really listen. We just step into fix it mode and telling you what to do, and this is what you should do. So a lot of parents say that when they do that acronym, they mirror, they validate, and they empathize with the person. It de-escalates the situation. The other person feels heard. They feel seen. And then with kids, it often de-escalates the behavior and improves the behavior because they feel heard and seen. So they don't need to escalate in order to be heard. So that's what moves is. And then we have a different one for spicy kids. But that's the gist of it. Another question. How much time do you think would need to be allocated to the course per week to keep up with the dialogue happening in the Q&A calls? As much or as little as you want. That's a really good question. That was a really important thing to me when we were building the course and how we designed it. Was I didn't want it to be too stressful and overwhelming because I know, like, I'm a parent myself. I work, like, I get it. I have laundry. I have cooking to do, like, I get it. So we wanted to make it really self-paced and just go as you want. And so some people will do, like, they'll consume the content. They might watch like a module a week, or some people might watch a module every 2 weeks, or some people might watch a module a month. Like, you have access to it for life. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you can do the modules whenever you want. They don't go anywhere. So that's kind of nice. And then what's happening on the calls, that's also self-paced, right? So for example, you might be on module 1 and you join the call on Monday and there's someone else on the call who's on module 5. It doesn't really matter because you'll still find that there are similar questions at various points. And there's some parents who've, finished the program and they'll still have a question that might have been answered in module 2, but you can't remember everything, like in every module. So you'll still have stuff that you're trying to learn and like integrate and really get your head around. So it kind of doesn't matter where you are in the course, if that makes sense. You can kind of just take it at your own pace, and then you jump on the call, and you might jump on a call and you ask something about anxiety, and I will answer it, and then I'll go. And then if you watch the anxiety module, you can always jump ahead. They're all there. So you could jump ahead to the anxiety module or the sibling rivalry one if that's more pressing right now. They're kind of in order, but it's not the end of the world if you just jumped around to say anxiety. And then you could listen to the anxiety module because you're not there yet. Do you know what I mean? So like you can kind of choose your own adventure and you can kind of make it be how you want. And like when we were building it, we toyed around with a lot of different ideas of like, do we release one per week? And then we had too many people asking for different things like sibling rivalry or anxiety or anger. We need help now, so yeah. I think, and the other thing too, what some people have said is I have a really busy period right now at work. I'm just going to do the Q&A calls and I'm just going to listen to those. And that's going to be my contribution to the program, or to myself in doing the program. So it's really up to you of how much you want to do, how much you want to get into it. And obviously, like with everything in life, the more you put in, the more you get out, So if you're doing the modules and you're doing the calls, you'll see a quicker transformation. Like obviously with anything, if you go to the gym all day, every day, you're going to be getting, you're going to be at the marathon level status quicker than if you go once a week or once a month. But that's what I like about it, I guess, is that it's just so flexible with where you are in your life and what's happening. You don't have to feel pressure. Um, yeah. And then Gary says, we got a lot out of our masterclass too, Rhea, which has given us a start, but we got a long way to go. And the ongoing support and community is big for us in starting TPT. Yeah. Thanks, Gary. Gary was also at the dad's group and also at the Spicy Parents Club. So Spicy Parents Club is new. We just had our first one about a month ago, and that was awesome. Like I was really surprised and like how great it was. And I was really, I felt as like a spicy kid parent myself, I felt so seen and supported and validated and like, oh my gosh, I'm in the presence of all of these other parents who get it. I knew if we had like a picnic or a park play date and we all caught up, none of us would have to feel worried about our kids kicking off and having a meltdown because we would just be in the presence of a bunch of spicy kids and other parents who would get it and just not judge us, because that's, I think, such a common fear for those of us that have spicy kids is we're afraid to go places in public with them because we're nervous about them kicking off and causing a scene. So yeah, the Spicy Parents Club is a part of TPT. We've been trying to figure out where we're going to put it and how we're going to organize it. And so what we've decided is to make it be a part of the program. So when you're in TPT, you get access to Spicy Parents Club catch-ups when we meet on Zoom. And we're still kind of working out what we want it to look like. Some people offered suggestions of saying we should pick a topic. Some people said we can, do a particular problem and do it like a Q&A kind of case study. But at the moment, we're just sort of trying to figure out what we want it to look like. But that's a part of TPT. So if you join TPT, you get access to Spicy Parents Club and the dad stuff. And also just any webinar I do, any of the webinars I have, like how COVID's impacted kids or returning to school, how to get them ready for that. I have a trauma one that I'm finishing that I will get up into the portal soon. So when you join the program, you kind of get access to all that stuff. And then whatever I do over the next year as well, you get access to that stuff too. So yeah, I think if there's no more, can you apply moves to a spicy child? Yes, but what we often say is that moves is better for ketchup kids. Ketchup instead of spicy sauce, and that the spicy kids often do better with their own acronym, which I call GRIP, which is in the Spicy Masterclass, which essentially what that means is that you start it by saying you're a good kid having a hard time. That's sort of the first most important part. And then the other would be sort of trying to see their best intentions, noticing their good intentions and not kind of assuming that they're bad or horrible. I'll just pull it up. So, because one of the key issues with spicy kids is they don't do feelings well. They don't like to be sort of, they don't like to be cornered on their feelings. So, you know how I said with moves, the M is mirror. With spicy kids, you don't mirror what they're feeling, you mirror the intensity and you don't label feelings. So GRIP is the acronym that I use, but what I think I want to teach you that I think is more important than GRIP is actually how ketchup versus spicy kids looks in the side by side. So I wish I could share my slides with you and show you my screen so you could see it. But okay, so what that looks like is, so mirror for the ketchup kid would be, yeah, you're mad they didn't invite you. Spicy would look like you mirror the intensity. So, wow, I realize how serious you are. Yeah, I believe you. And you don't label feelings. Does that make sense? So with the neurotypical calmer kid, you say, yeah, you're mad they didn't invite you. But the spicy kid is, wow, I believe you. This is serious. And we don't label the feelings. O for ketchup is, whereas with the spicy kid, you observe it. So that's where you would say, you're a good kid. You're just having a hard time. And that sentence, a lot of parents tell me, is key in shifting things with their spicy kid by saying, "You're a good kid having a hard time." Just that can be game changing. Absolutely game changing. Because remember, the two biggest things that spicy kids struggle with is big feelings and shame. Those are their two kryptonites. And so big feelings are a part of life. Good feelings, like excited and happy, and hard feelings like jealous, disappointment, frustration, anger, anxiety, sadness, right? And they don't know what to do with those feelings. It's almost like it overwhelms their nervous system. And so they kind of avoid big feelings a lot, and they avoid shame because those are the things they just can't tolerate, shame and big feelings. So yeah, so then back to the O. So it's observe, you're a good kid having a hard time. Sometimes eye contact is more threatening. So with spicy kids, we might not do eye contact if that's threatening. B is validate. Yeah, that would be so frustrating to not be invited. For a spicy kid, the language I like to use is, yeah, there's something really annoying about that. I believe you. Again, it just goes back to saying things like, I believe you. This is serious. I see it. That makes sense. I see what you're saying, because they feel so misunderstood all of the time. E for empathize. That, yeah, that would have hurt my feelings too if I wasn't invited. But for a spicy kid, that would look like, yeah, I know you didn't mean to hurt the dog. I know that you were just playing with the dog. You didn't mean to hurt the dog. I know you're a good kid. You didn't mean to hurt the dog. Did I ever tell you about that time that I hit the dog? Does that make sense? So the way that the empathy shows up is different for spicy kids in always believing that they're good, because spicy kids always think they're bad. They think that simultaneously they are too much and too little at the same time. And then S is stop for ketchup kids. And then for spicy kids, it's stay calm and saying to yourself and saying to them, I can handle this and I can handle whatever you're feeling. And just focusing on you staying calm and you staying regulated. That would be the difference for how you would do moves, but the spicy version, if that makes sense. I want to see if there's anything else I want to mention for that. Let me just scroll through my slides and see if there's anything else. I don't think so. I think that's it. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for being here and for joining me in this. I'm glad that we got to kind of go through some of these things, and I could go through some of the I don't know, actual methods and stuff that we talk about in the program. And yeah, I'm looking forward to working with y'all, and those of you who are going to join. I'm pumped that you're going to join. I'm really excited. It's always fun to get newbies in. And I think it's fun too for the students who've been in for a while, that they get to listen and hear and offer their help and advice in the Facebook group as well too. Yeah, so I think that's it. Oh, that's very sweet of you. I'm glad to be helpful, and I'm glad you're here. I'm glad our paths crossed, because I know how isolating and hard parenting is. So I'm grateful that I get to do this work. It's a privilege to be able to serve. It's a privilege to be able to help other people with the stuff that I've learned in my career and my own parenting and in my own life, you know. So yeah, I'm just glad to serve. I'm glad to be here. So yeah, thanks guys for joining, and I will see you, what is today? Tuesday. I'll see you in tomorrow's live, and then again on Thursday, and then we will close the doors on Thursday. So hopefully we can get some of you guys in. And yeah, don't hesitate. Oh, you joined. Yay. Don't hesitate to DM me or message me if you're worried or you're like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, just message me and we can chat about it. I've been doing little voice memos for people and writing people back and answering their questions. So yeah, I appreciate that it's an investment and you want to make a clear decision. So I get that. So yeah, I'm happy to go back and forth with you. You're welcome, Gary. Thanks for being here. Yeah, thanks everyone. I'll talk to you guys soon. Okay, bye.